Oh, it's going to sound so cliche.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be the cliche moment of the night. You're going to throw up here. The trash can's right here. Honestly, it's when we have games at the stadium, seeing all the old players come back and hanging out with them, reminiscing, catching up on what they're doing now. You know, looking at pictures of the kids, laughing about crazy things that happened in the past. Those are the things that really remind you why you do this. You know, and then that's it. I mean, it's not anything magic. Those are magical times, but it's not one significant thing that. I mean, state championship was great. I mean, that was our goal. It was. I mean, it was wonderful. It was great for the community, great for the kids, great for the school. But that was one season. I've been doing this for 43 years. You know, there's got to be more to it than that.
Hey, nobody better. The Candy Wildcats.
It's our evening, everybody.
Coach of the Year, and that's our very own Coach Willie Amendola.
Back to throw, he uncorks it, and Jonah Wilson makes the grab. 44 yards on the final play of the half.
Let's go back in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't realize that you played at Northeastern in Boston, which is a tremendous academic institution also. Just walk us through that timeline of how you went from there to here.
Okay, we got to go back for
Or the state of Texas.
We got to go back for a moment.
Okay.
In 1958, my parents moved our family to Texas. We lived in Waco. My dad, when I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, would take me to Baylor, and I'd see the bear, the real bear, the Baylor bear. And you know, when you're very impressionable growing up, my idea of football was to graduate from high school and go to Texas and play football at Baylor. Well, I didn't have the skill set at that time. Wasn't good enough to go to Baylor when I got out of high school. And but that was always the skill set. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do when I was 13, 14 years old. I wanted to coach football in Texas. So that was that.
All right, so let's go back to the state championship year.
Okay.
At what point did you think, because Decaney was off the grid, y'all didn't really have any history. When did you think to yourself, hey, this team's got a chance?
Well, I mean, you know, in about 2009, when that senior class was for sophomores, they were talking about doing special things. And they started talking about it long before their senior year. And we built a culture there around family and doing things the right way. So we had those kind of things in place long before the kids had the skill set again to execute at that level. Yeah, you know, nobody knew what Decaney was, and we were only open for a couple of years, and we never even made the playoffs before. But you use the experience in 2004 when Westfield was in the state championship against Tyler Lee. I used that experience to kind of navigate the pitfalls that we made possibly on that run to get to the end and not make it. I learned some things along the way that we didn't make some of the same, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but you know, counterproductive stuff. So we kept it real. And in that run, I can remember to this day, it was wet, it was cold, it was rainy, it was dark. We were practicing. I think getting ready to play Longview, and you know, Longview had a rich tradition. And on our Monday scouting report, we took a picture from the internet of Longview's trophy case of all the gold balls that they had. You know, we didn't have a trophy case with any balls. And the kids were practicing in the rain, and it was cold, and it was miserable, and they were laughing. They were having a great time. You know, it's a grind, but they were still out there in the nighttime, in the dark, in the rain, still practicing and laughing and having a good time, thinking, if these guys are having that much fun practicing, I think we got a chance. That kind of relationship they have with each other. So that's when I realized I thought we might have a chance to do some things.
So you got to see it on the other side too as a parent. Watching your kids grow up playing football, watching one of your kids become, you know, an elite player in the NFL. What was that like, just to kind of take the backseat and watch how that all played out?
I mean, looking at it as a parent and coaching other people's children as a parent, understanding what their fears are and what their expectations are, and not letting their unrealistic expectations get in the way of what is real and what is valuable. Because, you know, sometimes parents get a little bit ahead of themselves. But as a parent and a coach, you get to bring those two worlds together and do what's best for the athlete that you're responsible for. That was huge, and also the excitement of it. I mean, when you get to go to Super Bowls and you get to see the excitement and the pageantry, and putting that in perspective. I mean, that's exciting, but also putting the preparation and the excitement into focus to get ready to perform has been incredibly valuable.
The stadium, now it's the beacon of light in spring, right? So it's a big deal it's a huge undertaking. Mm-hmm. What was just that process like for you?
Well, it started with, you know, getting the district support and Dr. Watson's support, and, you know, sharing the vision and sharing how to make the vision a reality. Because, you know, it wasn't necessarily popular at the time. I mean, there's some vocal people, in the vocal minority of people in the community that thought it was a waste. And going to board meetings and prep meetings and to try to convince them that it's not. And then when the bond passed, you know, by the margin it did was huge. It was like 66%. They were hoping for maybe a 54, 55, and it passed at 66%. Showed that the community really wanted this. And then the process of building it was interesting. It was great. But the community support and the district support in the stadium, you can see when you look at it, it's a beautiful stadium. It's great. It's an awesome place.
You've affected probably tens of thousands of kids. Mm-hmm. What is that like to have that sort of impression on people?
I don't know what that's like. You know, coaching became a mission field for me probably back in 1994 when I was working with Bernie Simon over at Nimitz, and it continued that way. It's some of the joys in this business is when your players graduate from college and come back to coach, and that we've had a ton of ex-players get into coaching. That's always exciting, but it's equally exciting when they come back to watch a game and they're successful businessmen, or they're just working every day supporting their family and their kids, and just blue collar stuff or coaching or businessmen. It's just so much fun to watch them come back, and we laugh so much about some of the crazy things that went on. And it's wonderful. You know, off the subject, I think he's a captain in HPD. And he was telling me, he was in my health class, and he was the quarterback of Klein Oak. And all he could remember was I told him to put eggs in fried rice. That was the most significant thing that I told him. That, you know, what do you remember? He goes, yeah, you told me to put eggs in my fried rice. Come on, man. It's just so much fun to have those conversations with the guys. It really is. Anyway, that's that.